Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rewind with Ro. I'm your host, Ro Carter, and this is my co-host,
Rob Smith.
What up, Rob? How you doing, buddy?
I'm great.
How was your weekend?
It was good. I can't complain. I had some great auditions.
Oh,
So
I want to see this man out there soon
that's
enough.
right. Very soon.
What's the weather looking like on the West Coast?
You
Same.
know, no, it's actually starting to cool off a little bit. It's been a little cloudy for the past few days, but it's starting to cool off and not be in the hundreds and unbearable. So I'm thankful for that.
Hundreds. East Coast people, hundreds. We've had rain for 3 days straight. Everybody's everybody's miserable. We got 72 degrees today, so we're like, okay, a sigh of relief. But it's been
I know they say it never rains in Southern California, but that's not true. I mean, it's going to start raining in like December and January for like a week, and it will be
I remember when I lived out there, Tony lied. They lied to us. They said it's going to rain in Southern California, and it does. February, get like 2 weeks, and no one knows what to do. No, not a single soul knows what to do.
No one can drive. Everybody's like scared to get wet, and it's like a few days, but it's like, get over it. We'll be fine.
Exactly. So we have some good lineups today. I'm really excited. Intergalactic movie that we're going to talk about, and also Breaking. So we're going to go into that. But before we go into that, the big conversation is, we like to call this part of the show, Get It Off Your Chest. So I have some things that I want to get off my chest. I don't know if you do, Rob, but I'll be quick about mine. Kanye's wilding out. Kanye has lost his mind. Again, these are not the views of blackfilm.com. This is just my views. I don't know what Rob will share on that, but White Lives Matter is a big issue to counter Black Lives Matter. He was at the Paris runway, and he came out for the show with a White Lives Matter shirt, and everybody went insane. So I have a T-shirt with the old teddy bear that he used to use that says, I miss the old Kanye. So I will just say that he is an amazing artist and such a talented artist, but sometimes he can kind of go in the wrong direction. And the people that really need to listen and see what's going on in this world, in this country, will kind of take it the wrong way. And it's a mixed messaging that can be very, very dangerous. I hope that people don't take him serious and realize brother's just trying to sell some shirts. But anyway, that's just my opinion of it. I'm tired. I want to unplug him. I'm tired of a lot of people. What do you think, Rob? Or is this something you're like, I'm gonna leave it alone?
No, I have some major issues with it. And major issues I have stem from the responses that are coming from mainly, white audiences that follow him. And that response is, yeah, white lives do matter. Why is everyone so upset about this? And my problem is, the statement, first of all, the statement Black Lives Matter, please people learn to separate that statement from the organization, because the statement as a whole is to bring attention and awareness to the destruction and violence against Black bodies that is at a higher rate than anyone else in this country of America. And like, we really need to draw attention to it. And this is the equation I always make. During Breast Cancer Awareness Month, men aren't going, what about testicular cancer? Like, no one's doing that because no one's upset to bring attention and awareness to a cause that needs it. And Black Lives Matter is not an attack on any other culture or any other race. It's just saying, like, bring attention and awareness to the fact that Black bodies are in danger in this country unnecessarily. So to even create a conversation or a narrative where people where it loses its power or is weaponized in a way that draws positive attention away from the movement and the cause, is destructive to me. Whether it's to sell a shirt, but for him, I feel like it's different than a person like a loser like Candace Owens, who consistently stands next to him and tries to champion the causes of anti-Blackness, which to me is problematic when she's a person who herself cashed a check for $37,500 when she was attacked by young white men growing up, and cashed that check with the support of the NAACP, and then grew up and turned around and said that the NAACP was supporting racism. So I have a problem with that. So my issues were standing next to that woman who I have no words for. And then again, weaponizing the term Black Lives Matter and making it something that people now feel like is an attack on their race and culture, which is not. It's just it's a call to awareness and attention to a problem that needs to be taken care of.
You brought up a really big point. Candace Owens, I'm not a fan of, and she's very powerful, and a lot of people don't know that. We're not trying to get political here at all, but do please Google her and really see what she got away with and how she's using that to just do her own thing. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I wonder if he would have stood with somebody else, would that would have been taken another way.
Maybe.
And so it's very interesting. Yeah, the person is she. You know, as soon as I saw, I was like, "Is that Candace Owens?" I was like, "Oh, this brother's tripping now." So, anyway, anything else you got to get off your chest today, Rob?
No, that's nothing else I really want to get off my chest. I want to talk about some of these good old movies.
Okay. All right. So you know what? Since we're already going in that direction, let's start out with some positive energy here. The new movie on Netflix came out on September 30th. It's called Entergalactic, starring Kid Cudi. Amazing array of stars in this. But Kid Cudi, it's his idea, his dream. A young artist just gets a new apartment in New York City. He's going to start his own comic book, and he's writing it. And it's so positive, such a positive message. I thought about a couple of things. I mean, growing up, brown and black kids have so much positive things to look for on television, on mainstream media than we ever had. I mean, I was trying to look back. I was like, what did we have as a cartoon? I was like, I had Bebe's Kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to knock Bebe's Kids at all, but it wasn't the movie that really inspired me to do better or encouraged me to like pursue something. So shout out to Robin Harris, rest in peace. That was the comedian back then. He was a legend. He was the dad in House Party, so you can always look him up. But I love it. Would remind me of the Spider-Man Spider-Verse that came out, the black version of Spider-Man. That was the cartoon. It had that energy on the screen, the music. I downloaded the album. I was all about it. I was like, this is great. And shout out to Kid Cudi, man. Such a visionary, and it's so powerful. Like love, let alone black love on the screen. And just to be a cartoon and be animated was so beautiful. What do you think about it, Rob?
Man, I mean, I don't even know where to start. But the animation was so beautiful, and the story was beautiful, and the cast was amazing. And one thing that I didn't really know at the time was that Virgil, rest in peace, from who passed away. Was the costume designer for the film. Yeah. So I was like, that is amazing. And
you do a costume design for it? I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I mean,
animation as costume. I just thought that was like part of it. Real. You know what? A side note. One time I'm gonna do a timeout a little bit. This is why we have Rob on, right? Stuff all the time, telling stuff. People, we just learn every week. We learn something here. So I just learned that there's a design person for animation. I just thought the drawer or the sketcher was like, that's it. That's all they do. And they already have that in their head, but I didn't think about that. Wow.
Yeah, there was a very well thought out process to pull this project together. I mean, when you have a team of people like Kenya Barris and working with talents like Kid Cudi, like I was just so floored by how beautiful it is. And like in my head, Jessica Williams, who plays the main love interest, the neighbor, she is like my best friend in my head because she just seems so cool. And I also like that it was like this. It was like a cast of like these unique misfit people in real life who like kind of like break the mode of what's normal, like Kid Cudi and Jaden Smith and the other person who I absolutely love was Timothy Chalamet. Like all of these people to me like break that mode of like what's supposed to be cool and normal, and they all are so cool and like have such an amazing sense of style themselves. And it was such a well-rounded cast. I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. I like couldn't stop watching it. Like as the chapters were going, I was like, I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna keep going.
I put you onto it. I was like, oh, you got to see this, and I was like, I couldn't explain it in words just how amazing it felt, and it felt like Love Jones, but it was animated, right? It had that feeling, that vibe. All those feelings you saw that on screen, that vision, and the cast, as you said, man. I wanted to give a shout out First of all, I got to give this man his flowers. Keith David, he's the brother. This brother's been in everything. He's been around for so long. He was the dad in Something About Mary when he's like, you don't put the zipper above the balls. You got to put the zipper. So people don't know who he is. He's a black man. He's been around for ages, and his voice is such an amazing voice. He's done a lot of animation, but you always hear him. So he's in this. So, I mean, I would love to interview him one day. I'm going to put it on the bucket list, but he's been around forever. As you said also, Charlemagne, Jaden Smith, even Macaulay Culkin is in this movie.
Yes.
It's crazy. And the only thing for me, the New York vibe that it was, unrealistic apartment like that's affordable, just not possible in New York City. I'm sorry.
But I think that was part of the storyline. Like, it wasn't affordable, and that's why, like, you saw his ex kind of pop up, and she's
yeah. I know, but still, it was like just for a New Yorker, it was like, yeah, that's the only part of the dream that just can't come true. But
I was gonna say, I felt like New York itself was also a character in the film, and they did a great job at, like, really capturing New York as a character and having it really fuel the love and the movement of the story as it progressed forward. Like, it was great.
Well, the one thing I'll say, and the last thing on this, is riding a bike in New York City at night, and when it's not crazy traffic and bumper to bumper horns, and maybe you might be high or you had a drink or two, and you shouldn't be driving drunk. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna put that disclaimer out there. But if you happen to be doing that on an electric bike, there's something about New York and seeing the skyline and all that, and the colors just come alive. So I love this. I highly recommend download the album. I had a great time. It was a great voyage. I listened on the train today. I was like, this is awesome. So it goes with New York City too. So if you're walking around in New York, please check it out. Any last comments on the movie?
Yeah, like, I just want to again say, like, I don't expect anything less than great when it's Kenya Barris. So I just was really, like, excited to jump into it and watch it. So yeah, I just wanted to again say I think it was, beautifully done. Everybody should definitely check it out. And I like how they broke it up into the chapters. So now, do the chapters correspond with the album in some way? Because I thought that was.
I haven't dug that far into it yet, because the album has like more chapters than it did. So maybe the first 10, but it had, as you go on, I think there's like 15, 16 songs on the download. So a lot more songs than is for chapters. But I think the first one, they go with the movie. Yeah. So you'll have all the ones that go in the movie, and then you have extra ones that he added on.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to hear the album too. It was just perfectly done. So kudos to them. And and like, I was so, like, captivated the whole time, even though it was animated. I don't watch a lot of, like, animated projects, but this one, I was really drawn in, and it at a point I kind of forgot that I was watching an animated project, because it really felt like I was watching the actors themselves, because the animation was done, that it was just done very well. It was great.
Yeah, I read the comments, and a lot of people, a lot of black brothers and sisters were like, I don't usually watch anime at all, and then they were like, but for some reason I was just captured in this and stuff like that. So I think you're gonna see this. This is gonna get a huge Oscar plug. It's gonna be big. I really think this is gonna be one of the animations, and it's definitely gonna be a winner. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It's what I do here. Just throw out things and see what happens.
And one other thing that I thought was cool was that they were showing us in environments that they don't always show us in, like, like in skateboard parks, or, like, riding bikes through the city, or, like, working in a comic book company. I just thought it was cool to see that side of our community too. So it was like that, what people may call weird, but the cool, weird side of, like, the Black community. So I thought it was great. I really love what they did with this.
Yeah, that was valid. And I was like, please, I don't want the good cop, bad cop, black and white thing. And I love that they just stayed true to the love story.
Yeah.
And I was like, here it comes. It's gotta come to New York City. It's gotta come at some point. And not to give anything away, but I'm like, oh my God, they just stuck to the story.
Yeah.
One thing before I forgot one last thing. The relationship part is very interesting. So I wanted to ask you, Rob, on a relationship tip on the side. Are you allowed, your ex, right? If you're in a new relationship, they ask you to come get something. What's the rules on that? Are you still friends? If it's new, like, what's the kind of grace period for you to be like, hey, if I'm in a new relationship, a year in, the number should be deleted, or 6 months I still keep it, or what's the we're not hooking up, just being there as a friend.
See, I'm not a jealous person. So I'm a person who can be like, for me, I'm like, if I trust you and I love you, it doesn't, I don't care. Like, I'm still friends with most of the people I dated. Maybe I'm not friends with like 2 people out of the people I've dated,
They crazy.
which is, it's not a ginormous list, but whatever. But I'm still cool with most of them. So I'm not a person who carries that kind of jealousy with me. I don't care. Like, but if you guys were recently intimate, maybe that there should be like some open dialogue about, hey, this is what's about to happen. I just want to let you know, but there's nothing there. Like, as long as there's transparency and communication, thank you, good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Rob. That's
Oh, and a quick disclaimer that I want to say: the opinions I gave earlier were just that they were my opinions, and so they were my personal opinions. I just want to make sure that I make that very clear. I was not stating fact in any way, shape, or form. Those were my opinions.
all right. We're good. Okay, moving on. Next part of the show. So please check that out. Intergalactic on Netflix. Next up is Breaking. Woo! Oh man, this is a tough film. This takes place. A VA veteran is trying to get money from the VA. They messed up his check, and then he decides that he is going to hold up a bank to get paid. And this does not go right at all. And this is based on a true story, which is really crazy. I had to Google this after everything was over, and it blew my mind. Shout out, which really moved me. So I have mixed feelings on this film, and we'll go into that. But I love that Michael Kenneth. This is one of his last movies that he did, and so it was great just to see him on screen again. The brother from The Wire. He's been in all the great movies. He's just an amazing actor. And that was just great to see him on screen again.
Yeah,
so that was
Michael Williams. He's such a talented actor. Yeah. Was such a talented actor, and absolutely.
And John Boyega, he's been around for a minute. He was in Star Wars. Everybody got upset when he touched a lightsaber for 2 seconds. But that brother's been around for a minute now, and so he's getting. He was also in the Woman King as well. He played the king, so he's been doing his thing, man. He's getting paid. And so it's crazy that he has a British accent. And I always have to remember that and remind people he's a British actor. And so when you see him, like, wow, how does he get that? That's a deep character that he had to get into. And it reminded me of my uncle Edward. Rest in peace. He passed away last weekend, but he was a veteran. And the hoops that you have to go through when you have to get all the paperwork in order and kind of do everything, and kind of see the BS that these veterans that sacrifice their lives for us have to go through just to get a check, to survive every day. And there's that one moment when he's sitting in the office, and then he's like, man, I'm going to live on the street. What am I going to do? I need my money. And she gives him a pamphlet and he reads his homelessness pamphlet. I'm like, what? And so it just blew my mind, like scenes like that and how we still treat our veterans here in America. What did you think about the film, Rob?
Yeah, I thought it was beautifully tragic. And because it was based on a true story, I was just like you said, I was floored. I mean, of course, I know that there's some broken systems that need to be corrected, especially when it comes to veterans and people of color. But just to hear that story, and of course, the path he chose was the wrong one, but he wanted to bring attention to the disparity of how he was being treated, and he fought for this country and came home. And I don't know if the amount that he said was correct. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but yeah, I thought it was well done. I thought it was. One thing I did appreciate was that the director didn't show us anything that was gore. That I thought it was unnecessary for us to see the ugliness of the violence that occurred. So I appreciated that because it was very beautifully told without having to be too graphic, especially since it is a true story. We kind of touched on this before when we talked about Monster last week. People who are associated with these true stories having to relive the trauma of losing someone who's dear to them or losing someone who's close to them is one thing, but then having to see it in like a violent, graphic way, I think it makes it that much worse. So I appreciated the way that they approached that aspect of the film. And also, there was another player in this film that I thought was great, which was Nicole Bahiri.
Oh man, she was amazing. She
Oh,
I mean, she was the best on the screen.
yeah, absolutely, phenomenal. And she's in Hunt for Jesus, Save Your Soul as well. She's so good, and I'm so excited to see everything else that comes across the screen from her. So I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yes. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said great.
Yeah. It is, yeah, so it's interesting, right? He's so polite, and so I had to put myself in the shoes of his hostages in the bank. Again, I'm not trying to give it away, but that's what you see right off the bat, so it's not telling anything. So he keeps hostages in the bank, and so in seeing that, like, I wonder how your brain kind of goes into that, right? So if someone has a gun, right, or if someone has a bomb, like the visual effects of that, do I need to see that, or am I just going to shut down? You know, what do I need to hear? Oh, now he's a veteran. Oh yeah, I believe everything and what he did. So that kind of playing with your mind. But he was so polite, right? So at one point I'm like, you know, how angry is he? How serious is he? But then he would go back and forth. And the thing that frustrated me the most is that if this is based on a true story, like the trust that they had, there was opportunities where they could have done things to kind of put them in a better situation, and they didn't do it. And I was like, it was driving me insane. I'm like throwing stuff like, okay, what are we doing here, people? And so that was very frustrating. And it just shows that he really didn't have a game plan, right? He just wanted to bring attention. And when you find out what it's over, you kind of just lose your mind. And like the value of life, like what is the value of your life? What is the value of your family? And so that was the big picture for me. I mean, if anything, I hope this movie brings more attention to what's going on with our veterans and in the VA. I mean, again, the VA was set up to help veterans, but a lot of times, you know, it's very frustrating that you have to have literally every document, you know, anytime you messed up stuff. And I almost was hoping they were going to go into that side of the VA, but it kind of reminded me of the movie with Will Smith with CTE. And, you know, it was like, hey, we don't really want to go into this because the NFL was behind that, right? And they don't want, so it's like the veterans like, oh, there's another story here, but we don't want to go into that. The government's behind that. So it's crazy to me. Like every year when we vote and we see where our money goes, like 50% of all money goes towards the military. And then we can't put money towards veterans. It drives me insane all the time. So I always see that. So hopefully this will bring more awareness to our people, our men and women in the military. And, you know, maybe we do a better job of hiring people who have been in the military, right? You know, you served your time and you want to help out so that you have a little bit more patience. Because I think it's hard for you to kind of understand where this person's coming from, right? When you've never lived that life.
Lived it.
You just see them as an annoying person. Like, come on, man, you're just another customer. And you're not another customer, man. You sacrificed your life for us, or you gave time for us. So that's something to really think about as we kind of move forward, kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like making, you know, housing accessible, making mental health services accessible, making healthcare accessible, making like the opportunity to find sustainable work accessible. Yeah, those are, I think, great conversations that hopefully will be sparked from that film. So it was, I thought they did a great job. We didn't score either of these films, by the way.
I don't know. People say we spoil the films all the time. I have no idea.
No, so we didn't give them stars. We didn't rate them yet.
No, we did not rate them. Did you want to rate the movie?
Yeah, but we got to go back and rate
Entergalactic. Sorry, I've you know, it's been a while. It's been a while. So as we wind down the show, thanks everybody again for tuning in today. We're gonna give our scores today. Again, remember, Rob, this is on a scale of 1 to 4. You always try to do 100 or 10, so just 1 to 4. We're gonna go first with Entergalactic. What would you give that a score?
I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm being so nice to these. Well, the films are great, like they deserve it. I'm giving it a 4. I'm giving it a 4. The cast was great. The performances were great. The animation was great. I love the wardrobe was great. Rest in peace, Virgil. Like I thought it I thought it was well done. Kenya Barris, it was just done well. My friend in my head, Jessica Williams, it was so good. I'm giving it 4.
I love when Rob's happy. He gives a good score, right? Just you feel the energy through the screen. I agree with you, Rob. I give it a 4 as well. Please, please, please check out Intergalactic and download the album. That was great. And then our second movie of the night was Breaking. What would you give that, Rob, on a 1 to 4 scale? Of 1 to 4. Ooh, I don't like that face, Rob. Tough face.
Because I feel like I'm just giving everything a 4. I'm just like, you get a 4, you get a 4, everybody gets a 4. Like, let's see. You go first.
I'm gonna give it a 3, and the only reason I give it a 3 is because there is times you're just frustrated with the movie because it kind of moves in a place like if I was in that scene and I try to put myself in the shoes of these characters, and I was like, what would I do? And I have to remember, like, I don't know. I mean, I could say a million things in my mind, but when it actually happens, am I really going to be that guy? Who knows? And so that was a frustrating part for me. But otherwise, I love the storyline. I love that just seeing Black folks being represented. You know, we're all different types of people. We are veterans. You know, we are cops. We are animators. You know, we're literally everything. And so it's nice that both these films kind of bring that together and show that we can really do anything, but we should also be respected and treated nice. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I want to give it a 3.5. So 3.5.
5 minutes.
3.5.
5 minutes super fast.
And
if you're looking to drop a new film and you're worried about a score, hit Rob up. He will give you a great score. We don't pay him at all. I mean, he just listen. Doesn't get paid for this. Free score. He'll give you free score and we'll post it. And then, hey, so Yelp reviews. I can't even imagine what you give Yelp reviews. You're just probably like, oh man, this is the best restaurant I've ever been to.
No. You know, it's so crazy that you say that because you know when you're on Yelp, you only want to Yelp when you're mad. So you're like, I'm gonna give you a 0. Like you never are like, this place was great. I'm gonna Yelp and tell them they're perfect. Like nobody does that. But
I've always wondered when people that do that, I'm like, really? Okay, all right. But I appreciate those people because sometimes I'll go to that restaurant or eat there because that was a great review. And again, I don't need crazy stuff. It's like, hey, had a good review, customer service great. Boom, boom. Try this plate.
The bathroom was clean.
Like, is that? I just don't like the bathroom next to the tables.
It's still got to be clean. It's got to be clean.
But that's not on the restaurant.
Yes, it is.
It is not. The restaurant is packed. You can try to get there when you can. Have you ever been to some nice restaurants and the line is like back to back to back? What am I doing there, Rob? What am I getting in there?
No.
Again, I'm not saying a hot mess, but at least no. All right, Rob's big score now is bathrooms.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it is. But okay, so 3.5 stars for this film. I thought the bathroom needed a little bit of cleaning.
There is a bathroom scene.
There's a lot of bathroom scenes in it, but no, I thought it was well done. I appreciate I appreciate them not showing too much of the violence that was unnecessary to progress the story forward. I love that they, creatively moved around that. I don't know. I thought Nicole Bahiri's performance was great. John Boyega's performance was great. I can't remember the actress who was the other bank teller. Her name.
Oh, she's been around for a minute.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, she's been around for a minute. So she was really great too. I was like, ooh, you got to see that scene. I'm like, oh Lord.
So good. The performances were so good. So, and of course, Michael K. Williams. So rest in peace. 3.5. I thought it was great.
All right, Rob, you got anything coming up before we leave?
Oh yes, I interviewed the lovely ladies from the casting office that I was mentioning before. So hopefully that'll go up this weekend. So I'm excited for everybody to check that out, and you get to kind of see the behind the magic conversation. So yeah, I'm excited to talk to more casting directors and producers and wardrobe stylists, so people can really get an insight into the mind of the people who are behind the scenes making the magic of reality TV or movies or TV shows come to life. So it was a great conversation, and I'm excited for everyone to see it.
There you go. You can see all this on blackfilm.com. So thank you again, Rob, for your time. He's a busy man. He's always on the scene. Next week, we're doing Emmett Till. Woo! It's going to be a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to go into that. It comes out this weekend. Rob is going to the premiere. I'll be watching it somewhere. And we'll talk about it next week. So please tune in. And thanks again. Have a good night.
Good night, y'all.
Peace.